they say mo money, mo problems. All right. I guess I shouldn't be quoting Diddy right now. I get it. Okay, tone deaf. I'm not going to quote Diddy, but you have money, Cardi B. You know, she works hard for the money. Donna Summer got bills, 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 Destiny's Child. It goes on and on. Our culture, we love to talk about money. But how much do you actually know about money, understand money, especially the new wave of money, cryptocurrency? Today on the show, you know, I don't just bring any old anybody on the show. We got only the best of the best. So today, to help you all understand, I have arguably the biggest female presence in crypto in media. So help me in welcoming Crypto WendyO. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much to referring me as not an influencer, because I hate that term.
Oh, I know. No. Every time someone says that, I'm like, I just might as well burn and take a shit on my journalism degree. It's fine. Just don't mind me. Okay, I've been devoted to influencer. Okay.
Deemed the celebrity whisperer by Playboy.
This is the best interview of the day.
Thanks for having me.
You hit the nail on the head.
100%.
Period, yeah.
Touchdown. You're cracking me up.
Wear them, baby.
She's good.
Taylor Ferber.
Thank you for joining, Wendy. And as you know, I gave you a little, getting you up to speed before we hopped on. But my audience they're free thinkers, right? They may not be crypto experts, but they're very passionate about living freely, living their own lives. They hate cancel culture. They hate being told what to say, what to think. So needless to say, as you know, crypto plays a huge part in that, right? In sovereignty and freedom and fighting against control. So before we get into all that good stuff, you are, like I said, you're the purple crypto Barbie to my pink Barbie.
Aw, thank you.
Talk to me, Wendy, about, I know you must feel a type of way about being this hot, educated, super smart force in crypto in a sea of crypto bros. Tell us. Look at her. She's like, tell us what that's like, Wendy.
Well, that's the thing. I date music men, so I'm able to kind of navigate this entire thing. But yes, there's a lot of male dominance in the industry, which makes total sense, because when you think about it, most women are not necessarily interested in tech or math or those types of subjects, and we've kind of seen that throughout the world. And it doesn't mean that women are stupid, and it doesn't mean that we can't become interested in this, but it's just, you know, women, we got different genetic makeup, and that's okay. But crypto actually is for everyone, and that's what it was created for. Bitcoin and crypto Bitcoin was created for the people, by the people, and essentially it was created out of 2008 because that was like a horrible time for most people. And it was created so people got a choice whether they wanted to own their own money, actually custody their own money, because banks actually don't let you hold your own money. And it's really for people who don't like cancel culture because of the true decentralized economy. It's for people who don't like to be told what to do. I actually hate being told what to do. I will generally do the opposite when somebody tells me what to do. And crypto actually crypto kind of actually helped me find my voice and be able to kind of live life on my terms. So I feel like your audience will really, even though they might not understand Bitcoin and crypto, they're going to resonate with a lot of different things. And yeah, we do have a lot of men in the industry, but we're also getting a lot more women in the industry as well. And that kind of started with the last cycle with the 2021 NFTs, kind of with the whole Gary V thing, which is really cool. So it's nice to see the crypto industry kind of become like the field's getting a little bit more level. We're seeing more people from walks of life, and that's exactly what Bitcoin and crypto is supposed to do. It's supposed to empower a person to self-educate, to do their due diligence, and to have control over their money and their choices.
What she said. We can't have a Canadian truck driver situation. We're going to get to that in a little, Wendy. But I also love your whole story because you are an LA girl. This isn't necessarily, you've had a really kind of interesting journey and way that this has all come to fruition. It's not necessarily, you don't have your background isn't necessarily, when we initially talked, it's not necessarily in tech per se, right? The way that
not at all.
Yeah, the way that you found, and also I'm sure it makes you feel a type of way that let's be real, it's okay. Like, you don't have to be modest. You are the biggest female force in crypto, and it's super impressive. Like, I'm sure that you at these conferences, like, you definitely, as I like to say, are blowing these guys' brains and their balls. Like, they're just like, what? How does this happen?
I don't want to blow any of their balls. I'm very much like, I love music men. Like, that's like my get down, like older music men, and the stuff like everywhere. But no, I like, the difference between me is like, my industry, crypto was super, super tech heavy. So, and I don't come from a tech background. Like, I worked in healthcare, worked at the largest HIV/AIDS nonprofit globally. And I kind of learned how to talk to people from all different backgrounds. And, you know, I do have a STEM background, because if you work in healthcare, you kind of have to, but social skills are important too. So it's just nice to be in this industry that's super tech heavy and be able to break these complex things down to where an average person can understand, because like, not everybody is meant to be tech smart, and that's okay. No one has to be tech smart. You don't have to force it.
You know, you are, like I said, you're an LA girl. You're a music man kind of girl. Wendy was cracking me up, you guys, before this, because she's like, I just did a podcast with, you know, these people from the Titanic. I don't know their name, right? Because being so unfazed by Hollywood, basically being from there, I'm like, plot twist, it's Leo DiCaprio. And Wendy's like, oh, whatever, you know. But so I was just getting into pop culture and how crypto is becoming mainstream. So I want to get your take, bird's eye.
My internet just died.
I still see you. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, it's off right now. So I don't know how much longer this is going to, what the hell? Everything is like,
Verizon, you guys, is cock blocking Wendy today, and that's why we got this little bad boy in case it has to come in hot and just do. We'll get the paper cups with the strings from Nashville to California now.
Yeah, fingers crossed that this thing gets back up. But yeah, let's keep going.
Let's keep going. So, okay, as it pertains to crypto going mainstream, I'm just going to rattle off a couple examples. So you have Kim Kardashian, who had to pay the SEC, you know, a cool, you know, $1.25 million for promoting to invest in a crypto 2 years ago without saying that she was getting paid to do so, right?
She did.
She's been banned.
No, but she did. She did disclose that she was being paid for it.
Oh, because she wrote hashtag ad. So it's basically just Gary Gensler again trying to just rain on everyone's parade and cockblock everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the problem. So we're and like, we could talk about celebrity coins and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But the issue is that we have the SEC, and they are supposed to, you know, get rid of bad actors and persecute people that are doing bad stuff. But again, crypto gets a bad rap, and I understand that there's bad actors, there's a lot of money, but at the same time, the difference between cash and crypto, you can track crypto. It's all public. It's available on a public ledger. Cash, you cannot. And what the SEC has done is they are trying to use securities laws from the 30s.
Right.
From 1930s, before fax machines were created, central air, before this technology was created. They want to use those laws to determine what is a security and what isn't. And it's mainly just Gary and a couple other people. And of course, he's got some people, string pullers behind him. And that's what the problem is. So they just kind of like, if like all the different SEC lawsuits, they are just picking and choosing what is a security and what isn't. There's no framework. So what happened with Kim Kardashian, in my personal opinion, again, I'm not illegal, anything like that, but they probably says, okay, we're going to come after you because you're a really big name. We want to get publicity.
Like, send a message, right?
Yeah, they went after her, and her team was just like, fine, screw you. We'll just pay the fine and not deal with it. So.
And so for those of you listening who aren't as familiar, Gary Gensler, as Wendy said, he's like the Voldemort of the SEC, right? Just arbitrarily, and it's like very antiquated, these rules. So I'll actually tell you, Wendy, I was at Bitcoin conference this year in like the third row when Trump spoke. And when he mentioned if he becomes president and going after Gary Gensler, literally the rapture was created in Nashville. Like, the crowd was just over everything he said or anyone said the whole weekend, the crowd was going absolutely nuts. So that just goes to show you. But yes, and as it pertains to the Kim case, she was then banned from posting anything about crypto for 3 years, which I think she has a year left to go. So that's just one example. And thank you, too, for shedding some light on what actually, so you guys can actually see, like, the government will stop at nothing to have their hands and control every part of your life, which is why crypto is so liberating and freeing, because you are your own bank, basically. We also had things, Wendy, like very recently, I think in like June, both Caitlyn Jenner and Iggy Azalea came out with meme coins. Paris Hilton released an NFT that she, debuted and talked about on a late night show, which is a big deal. And then, of course, you have big A-listers like Tom Brady and Matt Damon promoting exchanges. We don't have to go down the FTX rabbit hole, but all that to say, it's obviously becoming more pop culture, more mainstream. So, A, Wendy, what does that say about the climate and nature of it on the whole? But B, what do you feel these celebs do and don't get about the nitty-gritty of crypto?
So this is the thing, like we have different kind of like subgroups. So NFTs actually have a valid use case. They're supposed to be for real talent, for real creators, for real artists, and you're familiar with the music industry, and you're familiar with how awful a lot of these contracts are, especially when it comes to musicians or to people that are acting or writers or whatever it is. They want to take the licensing and they want to take the IPs and the merchandising and that whole entire stuff. Like, there's so many different bands that if you actually look to see who owns their merchandising and whatnot, they don't. Like with the Ramones, for example, I don't think they make any money from their logo. And there's so many bands that just got so screwed out of this. And NFTs were supposed to represent, like, to where you didn't need a record label, or you can go ahead and you can create your own art and have a digital token that lives on the blockchain. But it kind of got skewed and people got greedy because there's greed everywhere. So then we got all these generative 10,000 pieces. But could you imagine how cool it is? Like, is your phone vintage, the red phone that you have?
Oh, this whole thing?
Yeah.
It sure is.
Could you imagine having an NFT and knowing exactly who that phone changed hands with in the last 50 years or whatever? Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
That's what an NFT is supposed to do.
Exactly. I love that about it. That you can, even what you said with crypto, how it's all transparent, it's out there, you can track it, there's nothing to hide. Whereas, as you said, banks are doing God knows what with your money, basically screw you left, right, and sideways. And that's what I think is so exciting and promising, as much as people like to naysay it, which we're going to get to. Even smart people in media who are also free thinkers and who I respect, I think they're just not up to,
well, because they don't understand. That's why. And it's exactly. Like, they don't understand, because again, like, we have all these stupid social issues in America, and yes, there is a problem. Like, it is 2024, things have gotten so much better, like for women and whatever else. But what a lot of people don't understand is that if we really, like, social issues are just kind of crazy out of control here, but in other countries not as much. And if people get access to more money, they have access to better products and services, and crypto actually helps fix a lot of that. Mm-hmm. So people won't be so concerned about these silly social issues. They won't ever fully go away, but at the same time, it'll help minimize them, because people they're going to be making more money or have access to more money, to entrepreneurism, to getting better jobs. Like, crypto really has a potential to stimulate the economy. Like, former President Trump, he has promised that if he becomes president, he wants to institute coin on the balance sheet for the Fed to kind of help pay our debt and stuff off.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world, and we'll get it done.
I just think that these people don't understand how life-changing crypto can be, and how important, or how it really promotes self-education and working really hard. Because if you educate yourself in crypto and you become really good at something, it doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter your sex, your race, any of that, wealth, none of that. You can create a path for yourself, which is really awesome. It's kind of what I did. And I feel like that's why they don't understand it, is because they're looking at the negatives and they have this closed mind instead of giving, looking at the pros and the cons.
Before we dive into that even more, because I'm not going to lie, I saw one of my favorite all-time journalists make a dig at everything you're saying. Like Trump is saying it could be the end all be all and hot, right? Because crypto in many ways has become the punchline. But before we get to that, I just want to take a hot minute to talk about my partners that I think will be your jive, Wendy. And it may or may not help you get on over to, your music man at some point in the near future. But it's called Revo Ride. And the whole idea is that this awesome technology, this platform is revolutionizing rideshare, right? So the customers pay less, drivers get paid more, and it's on the blockchain, which is awesome. But using the interface, you wouldn't even know it, which is so great. And you can, every time, like say you refer a friend and they ride, they get rewarded, you get rewarded. It's just a win-win all around. And what I love about this, because, I like to try to think I'm living that A-list lifestyle, is that they have it where the drivers and the riders can choose their driver. So it's almost giving this, like, you have a all-time, like, at all times personal driver, which is really, really cool. And you'll appreciate this too, Wendy, because the token rewards build and add value and utility over time. So it's not just what these stories we hear time and time again of like meme coins or shit coins, right, so to speak, that basically just go to nothing. It's actually like, like I said, a value building and adding token and coin that they are building this off of. So I'm super stoked about that. It's revoride.com. And like everything, the underlying theme I feel like for you too, in my message and my platform is freedom, right? And that's what I love, even as something as rideshare, like really, again, seeing all those transactions, it being transparent, having more power, getting paid, getting rewarded, paying less, as a driver, getting paid more. And so that's what I love about it. And I think, with rideshare, whatever it is, we're going to start to see this in day-to-day life, right? So it's kind of just really thinking and being ahead of the curve. So shout out to revoride.com and, vroom vroom. And Wendy, if you end up using it, you gotta, I've used it, by the way, and it is awesome. It definitely is that personal driver.
Well, I like that I get to pick my driver. I travel with my 8-year-old daughter often, so it'd be nice to be able to pick, because I'm very much about security. And also too, I like that they're stepping into this to this area and competing. I absolutely love when companies have competition. And a lot of people think that like capitalism and competition is like a bad thing, or capitalism is, but non-corporate capitalism is actually incredibly important, because why would you want to go to the same pizzeria every single day when another pizzeria can pop up and like make something that's better, and they're competing and competing, and then they just keep making things better and better. So that's good. That's what we want.
What she said. And Mike dropped, Wendy, if you haven't read it yet, Atlas Shrugged. I've talked about it on the show, but
I've read it.
Oh my God, it's completely, I've always been a capitalism girl, but that just was the nail in the coffin, like changed my views on capitalism forever. So good. So good. Ayn Rand. That's my bitch. So let's get back into the idea of crypto having so much potential and being so prosperous and saving our ass in so many ways. You talk about national debt, all these things. But like I said, it's really become the punchline. Like I said, I saw one of my favorite journalists be like, yeah, okay, Trump. And this is an anti-Trumper. This is not an anti-Trumper. This is someone that's totally fair, free thinking, and, digging out like, okay, Trump, crypto's going to solve all our problems. Yeah, you and the crypto bros. Okay. So like you said, they just don't quite understand it. But what do you feel the crypto community has done that really, it's like, you're not doing us any favors, guys. You're not doing yourselves any favors, right?
First and foremost, like before we get into like the people that are not doing us favors in the industry, because there's a lot of that happens. But I think we're just so used to listening to mainstream media and not critical thinking and not wanting to look at all different scenarios of a particular thing. So that person probably just didn't do their due diligence on stuff. That's what it is. Because if you actually do your due diligence and you kind of pay attention and you look at the pros and the cons, you'll have a different perspective of it. You really, really will. Like I was brought up in an Italian Sicilian household, and my mom was very much, if you want something, you have to get it yourself. Like you have to work for it. You have to educate, you have to study. And I was kind of brought up with that. There was no handouts. Like my mom didn't, she made sure we had food and clothes and took us to and from school, but there was no extra stuff done. So I already come from that mindset of like hard knocks. And I feel like a lot of people are just too lazy, and we've allowed the media to program us to not really educate ourselves. And as far as what things that the industry hasn't done they've done that hasn't been helpful, like some of the culture can be super toxic. People say terrible things. Another thing too, like, yeah, there's lots of money grabs, but that can be said in every single industry. Like if people call crypto a scam, they should really look at the healthcare industry. They should really look at the insurance industry. They really should look in every other industry. But realistically, I think the lack of customer service for a lot of crypto companies, and I feel like the worst part about it is we have all these super intelligent people, and they forget that the rest of the world is not super tech savvy. So they'll create stuff and the UI UX interface is not really friendly to an average person, and they wonder why their project fails. And it's not because they're bad people or they're bad actors. They just failed in entrepreneurism in that particular time. So I feel like that's the biggest thing, is there's a lot of people that think they're smarter than everyone else, and they're not open to constructive criticism, and they don't really want to understand how the average person thinks. Like if I have to bridge and I have to do this and all these different tasks, like I'm a mom to an 8-year-old. I don't have time for that. And I live and breathe this stuff. Like if it's going to take me more than 60 seconds to do it, or if there's a Web 2 version of something that's going to take me less time, I'm going to do that because I don't have time to waste.
With that said, I just think I don't have time to waste. Also, the Italian Sicilian household, my mom's side are literally off the boat. And like what you said just struck my soul. Like if you want something done, do it yourself. Like it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
I love what you said of like, I don't have time to waste. And you know what the truth is? None of us have time to waste. I talk about this on my show often. And I feel like I'm such a believer in this because I truly do think a lot of people just don't see it yet. Just like how they thought the idea of sending somebody, a letter across the world, what would ultimately be email, was insane, right? Now suddenly, like Microsoft, all these things, it's like, what? No, absolutely not. Now suddenly we have them, on our heads 24/7. So I do think ultimately this will be everyday life. In human speak, in case any of my audience members are listening to this, like what are these two broads going on about this and transaction and transparency and this and the blockchain? Talk to them, because something they can understand. That's why I brought up earlier is the Canadian truck driver scenario, right? Where merely on political grounds, their bank accounts were essentially they weren't accessible. They were shut off, couldn't go by the government, which is absolutely insane. So explain, Wendy, how, in the simplest terms, how this pertains to them and what they can do to get it in their own hands and on their own terms.
So some people might not care for the Canadian truck driver situation because that's just what it is. So let's break it down even. Let's break it down even simpler. Okay. Everybody's got like jewelry or gold, or they have something tangible that they keep for emergencies. Maybe it's $500 cash in an envelope. Maybe it's, your grandma's necklace, whatever that is. Okay. In America, we're very lucky. We really haven't been invaded for the most part. Okay.
Yeah.
God forbid.
Yeah.
God forbid your house sets on fire. There's a massive earthquake. There's a natural destruction like these poor people across America right now are going through. And you have the option to grab your kid or grab your valuables. With crypto, you do not need to even have that or to even think about that. You grab your kid and you go. Because all you need, if you're custodying your own Bitcoin, holding it yourself on cold storage basically means you're holding it yourself. You're not holding it on Coinbase or through the BlackRock ETF. All you need is your private seed phrase to be able to access it. And you can grab your kid and you can go, or grab your family and go. And it's being able to control your money on your terms without anyone interfering with it. It doesn't matter if there's a natural disaster, God forbid. Right. You just need to have access to that. And then when you can get to Wi-Fi or utilize a radio, which is a little bit more complex, you can have access to your money. If your money is stuck in a bank and there's a banking collapse, or like we get invaded, your money's gone. FDIC insurance is not, you think that they're really, I think they only have like 2% or something ridiculous to actually cover all the deposits. And people are like, oh, well, I don't have $250,000. I'm okay. Do you really think that the FDIC is going to care about some poor person, some retail person, when there's like a company that needs access to their money that's got connections there? No. The banks don't care about you. We were forced to literally use banks.
Yeah.
Like you can't get a mortgage. You can't get a rental. You can't do anything really without a bank. So Bitcoin and crypto allows you to be able to flee, God forbid, and take your wealth and take your kids or your people with you.
Okay. Lastly, and beautifully said, by the way, really well put, is the upcoming election, because everything, Wendy, as you know, is inherently political. Pop culture, media, money, it's all political, right? So as I understand, Trump has been a little bit more pro crypto, whereas the Harris administration or potential Harris administration has been more advocating toward CBDC, right? A central banking digital currency, which for those of you who don't know would essentially be the whole point, right? As Wendy said, of crypto, Bitcoin is the autonomy. With a central banking digital currency, essentially the government would, what have you, their favorite hobby, but control it, right? Which is why what pure crypto Bitcoin advocates do not want.
To be articulated is AI is kind of a fancy thing. It's, first of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence.
Obviously, this has been a huge talking point in the upcoming election. So what would you say, Wendy, you know, just for people, again, who aren't super in the weeds, but kind of a takeaway message as we see it play out, you know, what to kind of keep in their minds with either of these potentials or the big picture, you know, as we move forward? Because obviously there's a lot of turmoil right now. And this is definitely a hot button issue, I think, in this election.
So we know that Trump has came out and he's become pro-crypto. In the past, he wasn't, and that's because he didn't necessarily understand it. And that's okay considering his age group. But he's launched NFT collections, which are digital collectibles. Digital collectibles are everywhere. Like your phone, that's a collectible. Like, you know,
right?
Like, you know, remember those little coins and stuff that would be on our grandparents would buy us? Like those are collectibles or whatever. So Trump understands the importance. He's a businessman.
Right.
VP Harris, they do want a CBDC, and they've never even came out and said crypto or Bitcoin. They said blockchain, which, yes, that's part of Bitcoin and crypto. Some Bitcoin maximalists will argue that blockchain is not Bitcoin, but it's been so vague. And you're talking about, you have one party that is embracing crypto, and you have another party that has a war on crypto. And the issue with that is America is totally fucked when it comes to our economy, with the inflation, the cost of goods and services, all of that. And the problem with that is we need some sort of way to get new revenue, because people are having trouble making ends meet, paying for basic necessities. Credit card debt in America is, I think, at $1.14 trillion. And again, like, I was never a big advocate for debt, but these poor people, they can't afford food and rent and clothes, gas, those types of things. So they're putting things on credit cards. So we have one administration that wants to try to create a solution, like the president of El Salvador after they adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. And we have one presidential candidate that has not even addressed it. So we have one party that wants to tax it and keep it in America to create jobs and stimulate the economy, even maybe pay down some of the debt, and another party that just wants to regulate it to death. So to me personally, we're kind of at a really hard spot right now. And I don't know I'm not saying crypto is going to be the end all be all to fix everything, but what other options do we have? We're kind of running out of options right now with the Fed and all of that. So it's really kind of up to you to do your due diligence on this stuff, really understand how it works, and think for yourself.
It's all, and I have to wrap, but also how wildly hypocritical from, you know, Kamala Harris and her team, like, who are supposed to, I mean, there's so many hypocrisies all around, but like, to be all about fighting for like the little guy and small business and like, quote, inflation and the economy. And it's like what you're saying, right? How this would aid and how in so many ways. And in the same breath, like, no, let's control it and kind of stamp it out and stomp it out. So that's a whole other ball of wax for another day. But Crypto WendyO, thank you so much. I have to have you back post-election, and we will properly dissect. We will put these people in their place. The Barbie with a mic, and my favorite purple Brady Barbie, Crypto WendyO. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.